Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you found your way here. I hope you click like, subscribe, and share. And yes, I am going live again because so much is happening right now. And I tend to do that during times where a lot is going on. It's like I don't have the time to do a video, edit it, post it, and all that. By then, the wave has already flowed away. So I want to catch the moment. So if you're new to the channel, welcome to Hello Karleen. I hope you click like, subscribe, share. You'll be able to comment in the chat section if you subscribed. So doesn't matter how long you've been subscribed for. So I appreciate donations. If you'd like to drop a donation in the chat, of course, and I'll be posting a link where you can feel free to support. And let's see what's going on in the world today. But one of the things that we're definitely, like, there's several things on the list that I have here that I need to address, but the top topic is it's time for the star seeds to activate. If you haven't been activated yet and you know you're a star seed, this is now is really, 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 really early the time. So we're going to dive into how and why and what some of us are supposed to do here and what we're being called to do. So let me just post this. And if you feel, you want to share, then yeah. All right. So let's dive into the headlines for today, the 22nd of November, 2024. And we knew that this was going to be a pivotal month, you guys. We absolutely knew it. And so many of us have been talking about this time, and I've been speaking about it since September over on my TikTok, and before that, that this is going to be one of those months where everything shifts. I mean, the entire year of next year, 2025, my guides are calling the year of the shape shift because there's going to be a shedding of a skin, like quite literally. And so many things are going to be coming up and out. So many things are going to become visible. But we'll get to 2025 at the channeling Friday, the 13th of December. So if you haven't signed up yet, it's in the description box below this video. Sign up, join us, and maybe you'll get a message for you. Not quite sure. But anyways, let's dive in. So why do I feel like, ooh, because things are changing again. Like this is a chess game that is being played. This is a game that is being played out, so to speak. And obviously, and so Gates withdrew. In my video on the nominations of the cabinet picks, Gates was one of those that was giving me problems where I couldn't see it happening that that the Senate would allow him. And the Senate was, they didn't. They couldn't, really back that choice of Trump. So Trump apparently told, according to CNN reports, apparently told Gates that he didn't have the Senate backing. He didn't have the amount of votes needed. And so he would have to nominate somebody else. And who did he choose? Pam Bondi. What's so great about Pam Bondi? Well, Trump believes that she's going to, reshape the DOJ to what he needs it to be and to move things forward, same as Gates. And Pam, like, she's been supported by Trump. She's a longtime Trump ally. She's an absolute loyalist. She recommended Lara Trump to replace Gates when he stepped out of his position in the Senate. And so she's pushing for Lara Trump to replace Gates. But also she defended Trump in some of his as a lawyer in some of his charges and situations that were going on there. So she's well known to Trump and well on board with his train. And she's now the next nominee. Now, she's a lot less controversial than Gates, a lot more sympathetic as a tough female in the public eye, as the first woman attorney general of the state of Florida. There are many things about her which are, it's probably I'm thinking that I'm thinking she was the first choice I'm really feeling like she was the first choice, but Trump knew this is a game. That's why I said, that he's playing the chess game. He knew that if he pushed her first, there would probably be a stronger opposition. So if he put somebody up controversial like Gates, oh, everybody's going to say, oh my God. But when then she shows up, it's going to be like, oh, what a relief. This is a better choice than Gates. But if Gates hadn't gone before her so that she could be compared to Gates, it would have been a hard pass probably. So I definitely know what they're doing. I don't feel Gates is at a loss now that he's out of Senate. Like he's going to pop up somewhere else again. And he's not going away. He's not going anywhere. He's going to pop up somewhere else again. And let's see how this is going to pan out now for Pam Bondi, but we're also going to have a look into several other topics. So the topics that we're going to go through: Canada wipes out their GST for the up until December after Christmas, where GST has been taken off. So the general sales tax, that tax that goes on after the price, that has been taken off. Most products, food products and toys and video games, which is supposed to relieve Canadians and help Canadians during this season. But people are skeptical. Like people are so jaded that even when something positive like this happens and it's like a small, tiny step in the right direction, people are like, wait a minute. So why don't you take the taxes off my paycheck? Why don't you, and it's kind of, yeah. So while people are like, okay, the other people are like, this is not enough. This is absolutely not enough. And they're kind of hinting at, we expect our government to stand up for us and to speak for us, not to do government pricing, because that wouldn't be a good idea at all, but to communicate our interests to companies and corporations that set their pricing and so on and so forth, to make life a little bit more affordable. So we'll see in the reading what comes up regarding that. But then we're also going to dive it straight into World War III. Bashar, so many of you are followers of Bashar. You know Bashar. If you don't, just Google it, Bashar. And he has been out there with the channel Daryl Anka for years now, probably 20 years or more, and at least. And he did a prediction in September that clearly stated if what would happen when each candidate won. So we're going to have a look at that as well. Okay. But we're also going to look at you, Starseed, and why this is your time, why the call for activation is going out now, why this message of light. All of a sudden I saw this spark of light, and like this spark that is seated in each of the star seeds, why this is building up now and how you may be feeling it. So people have been speaking for years about ascension symptoms and so on and so forth, but it's a little bit more than that this time, deeper than that. So we're going to get into that. Okay. So let's start off with Pam Bondi and see what the outcome will be. As always, if you have any questions, comments, insights, you name it. Good morning to those of you waking up in the States, in North America, in Canada, possibly in Mexico. Good morning. But if you have any questions whatsoever, any insights, anything that you wish to add or share or whatever, the comment section, the chat section is open for subscribers. So go right ahead, post your ideas in there. Okay. Let's see. Pam Bondi. Let's dive into that. So Pam Bondi. And of course, blonde female. It's like Trump likes his blondes. They're all blonde. All the females that work around him, it's like one of those, remember that video from the 80s, the Robert Plant video, with all the women looking the same. I forget what song it was, but oh my gosh, it's so long ago. But it's literally like that. He's got these Stepfords, minions. I don't know what to call them, but they all come out of the same mold. And of course, some people that have a connection to that kind of a look, this Nordic look. So there's that sign again as well, right? Which kind of entity might be influencing that side of things. Check into the Nordics, check into their agendas, check into who and what they are and where they come from and how they show up, and that they're often seen around government people. And that's all I'm going to say to that. But let's say here. Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi. Yeah, we've got the 10 of Wands. So this is a heavy, heavy, heavy thing for her. 10 of Wands. This is a lot. And I feel like, she's ambitious, she's driven, she's goal-oriented, she's all of that. But was this what she signed up for? And I feel like this is what's churning around in her mind. It's almost like she can't say no. And on the outside, she's like, "Wow, yeah." But on the inside, she's, "Whoa, yeah." This is heavy. This is really a lot. And how she wants to go down in history is coming up for her, what side does she want to play? How does she want to show up? How is she going down in history is coming up for her. It might be a tough battle for her as well to get this nomination. So it's not going to be that easy. There's some kind of a block when it comes to the Justice Department that Trump is going to have difficulties because people know this is the key position, key position that's going to shape a lot of things that he wants to implement, that he wants to get done, that he wants to move forward. So it doesn't matter who he brings, they're going to be super torn apart, scrutinized. However, I feel still, it's going to be a little bit easier for her than it was for Matt Gaetz, but it's still going to be somewhat of a struggle. But we do see the Ace of Cups here. Okay, we do see the Ace of Cups. She truly is a loyalist. She acts on her heart. I'm not on any side whatsoever. I'm reading these as I get them neutrally. And we all know that, people can be for the wrong reasons or the right reasons in the right place or the wrong place. People are complex. Humanity is complex. And what I'm seeing here is the Ace of Cups, which is the Ace of Hearts, right? So she's someone who comes from the heart. She's someone who's also very home focused. She's got that Cancerian. I haven't looked up her chart. I don't know, but she's got that kind of Cancerian, kind of nurturing kind of energy. She easily bonds to things. And when she bonds to things, oh my gosh, she defends them. She absolutely defends them. We've got the Ace of Cups here and the 10 of Wands, right? So this is also a pushback defense. So this is interesting, but we've also got the Two of Coins. So she's not strong enough to withstand what's coming towards her. And he's picking key people that are intelligent enough to do the job, that are smart enough to get things done that he needs done, that are, but that are not morally or internally strong enough to necessarily stand up to him, even if they feel I need to stand up to him. I need to say stop. I need to do this. They look like they can be tough on the outside, but there's this core weakness that he senses, that he knows he can utilize and exploit. And I'm seeing that with the Two of Coins here, where she's either filled with self-doubt or she's filled with doubt consistently. Like her mind just works like that, where it's always looking for the other side, looking for the other side, looking for the other side. So she can't really stand firm on one side because she's so used to digging into things, that there's always a sense of doubt there. So to balance that out, she probably surrounds herself with people that she really truly trusts and believes in, and that she completely hands over everything to them. Where if they say left, she goes, okay, fine. If they say right, she's like, okay, fine. So it's a trust issue here, but there is a trust issue looming in the future between the two of them, with the Two of Coins coming up. There's something that's coming up in the future for both of them. Yeah. So I didn't see in the nominations video that Gaetz would really get this position. There was too much pushback. There was too much opposition there. And that's exactly what happened, right? Was no. So let's see, how's this going to pan out for her? Like, is this going to really work for her? We've got the Five of Wands, we've got the Sun card, and we've got the Wheel of Fortune. So yeah, she's going to like the Five of Wands is a battle and a kind of a difficulty, and she's going to push up against that, and it's going to be, she's going to be okay. Like, she's going to grow into her role. I feel much stronger about this one than I did about Gaetz. So there's no, I don't feel as much pushback here. Wheel of Fortune, yes, she's going to be involved in changes that are coming down the line, right? So he's also choosing people, like she already knows his cases, right? So she already knows what's going on. And she's defended him in some. So he's choosing also people that are going to get his stuff cleared off the table, right? So this is absolutely strategic. And like I said, I feel like she's good enough to do everything he needs done, but she has that core weakness that is not going to allow her to ever really fully block him. And in the case that he needed checking, you know, she's not going to check him. All right, so let's move onward here. Good morning, Star White. Okay, let's move on. So this is, you know, Starseed activation. This is the main thing on this video is Starseeds. Wake up, like the call is going out right now. It's like this wave that is going out across the world, across the globe. And it feels, ooh, there's some kind of a sparkle, you know, in spite of all the stuff that is going on, there's a sparkle there that I'm picking up on. And what is it that Starseeds needs to do? Well, right now it's hold the vibration, hold the line, hold the line, hold the vibration. How do we do that? Remember the double slit experiment. And if you guys don't, I'll show you a cute little cartoon, which is on, you know, you can check it out on YouTube. And let me just pull it up and switch the viewpoint for you guys here. But we're going to watch a cute little cartoon together that explains the double slit experiment, which explains, if you haven't seen it, some of you, of course, know a lot about this, but the observer effect on the smallest particles of our reality. So 1 second here. And this is Neil deGrasse Tyson, who kind of
double slit experiment.
That experiment.
1 second. 1 second here. So I'm going to show you guys this before I show you the cartoon, and then I'll show you the cartoon. Okay.
Widely misunderstood. This whole idea is the observer effect. If you're not looking at it, you get one.
1 second. Actually, you know what? Let me show you the other one first. I know. Just bear with me, you guys. This is live. No editing here. So I need this first, and then I'll show you. Where is it? There it is.
Here we are, granddaddy of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines. Where they cancel, there is nothing. So when we throw things, that is matter, through two slits, we get this, two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far. Now, let's go quantum. Electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. We get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they could interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits, and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one, and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit, see which one it went through, and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act different. So it was aware it was being watched. It was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange, never world of quantum events. What is matter? Pulse or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any? The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing.
So many of you guys have already seen this. You already know this. You're aware of this and so on and so forth. But I feel like in this video, I have to put that in there. So why is this important? And what does this have to do with the Starseed thing? But before I do that, I do want to show you the other side of the story, which is Neil deGrasse Tyson here. And Neil deGrasse is kind of like, he's Neil. He's Neil. So here we go.
That experiment is widely misunderstood. This whole idea is the observer effect. If you're not looking at it, you get one result. But if you look at it, you get another result, as though your consciousness is affecting the experiment. Consciousness right now is not a fully understand. Let's say you were smaller. Let's keep making you smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. When I turn on that light, you will absorb that light and jump to another state of existence. But if you're an electron, I can't see you. Let me turn on the lights. I turn on the lights, photon hits the electron jumps to a different state. I cannot know what the electron is doing unless I illuminate it. And if I illuminate it, it's doing something different from what it was before I illuminated it. It has nothing to do with consciousness. It has to do with interacting with the object in order to make a measurement. And that requires some way to illuminate it, to know that it's there.
What about the double slit experiment?
Okay. So whatever, that's another way of saying, you know, that we clearly function with the environment around us, that through our interaction with it, it changes according to our interaction with it, right? So whatever, whichever way you choose to see it or say it, it's saying basically the same thing. So that's the way I see it anyways, but I had to show the other side to it to make sure this is all balanced here. Anyways, stop share. Whoops. I'm just showing you guys the back end of things, whatever. Anyways, let's dive in here and have a look. Starseeds, what is your mission in this? The message I was getting for this morning for you guys was, or for us, is to hold the line, hold the frequency, and why it's super important, super, super, super important. And I've said that in previous videos that I've done years and years and years ago, that it's super important where now, right? You're getting your information from which readers, from your, you know, like which entities you're connecting to, and so on and so forth. Because whatever we're observing, and it's also super important what you're observing, what you're paying attention to, what you're funneling your energy into, because this will collapse our reality into the manifested timeline that we're going to experience, right? So starseeds were sent here to help Earth, right? And of course, on the one hand, there is the version of helping Earth by healing someone else and by helping them move through situations, but it's moved now, right? And that's what I tried to do a couple of years ago with the Star Walkers, right? This login section that I had that I titled the Star Walker Academy, the Star Walker School, because we have to move from star seeds and being these babies in essence into becoming star walkers, that we're meant to grow up. And this helping others, yes, continues, of course, and will constantly continue. However, it's not just that. It's also maintaining a certain frequency, bringing in a certain frequency, and then maintaining it, building a frequency that is aligned more to the higher realms, to the higher levels, and this doesn't have just to do with joy or justice or all these things, but even holding the door open for something like that to exist, or holding the portal open for something like that to exist. So when it comes down to getting your readings or giving readings, be mindful, right, of the information that you observe or you allow others to observe in your field of potential, because all of us are also fields of potentials. So whatever somebody else observes about you, it collapses into your reality, right? So this is said very strongly because, of course, other people are going to say, yeah, but nobody has an influence on you except for you. Really? 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 That's why people believe in the evil eye. That's why they don't tell anybody anything when they're about to do something big. Really? Because people do have an influence through their thoughts, through their energies, and not many people have control over their subconscious minds, which is super active everywhere. And so even though they might be congratulating you and welcoming you on the surface, there's low-key jealousy or hating on you in their subconscious without them even realizing it or being able to control it. So this is why it's super important that you're aware of this. You're aware of the observer effect. You're aware of what is observed collapses into reality and into being. And as a big example of that, the question remains and is out there, did the Maharishis kind of contribute to creating our world and the existence that we live in? What are the Maharishis, you may ask? They were seers. They were seers in ancient Hindu tales, and they wrote the books of the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, things of that nature. And it is said that they saw these visions. So the question is, did they see them, focus on them, and then write them down? And through them believing in that, what they were seeing, kind of manifest that timeline, that stream of consciousness into reality, because they wrote about universal things. They saw the universe, right? So look it up. They're called the Rishis, right? Or the Maharishis. Maha in these Hindu titles means great. So Mahatma is the great soul, like Mahatma Gandhi, the great soul. Gandhi. Maharishi are the great seers. And I thought it was interesting that they titled them seers, because clearly observation and seeing is something that is a lot more powerful and magical than we really allow it to be, especially when combined with speaking, right? So speaking and seeing, we are magical creatures. We're magical beings living in a magical world, and we just forgot, right? We just forgot, but now we're being brought back. So super important when you're doing, like I said, readings, that from here on in, or healings, that you're really focusing in on, and that's what I was taught in healing work as well, is that as the frequency holder for someone who can no longer hold a frequency of balance or of health or whatever you want to call it, you have to hold that frequency. That means you're not focusing on the illness of the person. You're focusing in on them in a healthy state of being. This is also stated in A Course in Miracles, but also, like I said, in other ways that I've learned, is that you really hold that image in your mind. And so the energy that you're working on can then align to your energy, which is holding the higher frequency, and adapt to that, because at that moment, they're not able to do that. So I hope, that's clear, but this goes as well for when you're receiving. Super important. Who are you allowing to look at your potential? Who are you allowing to see certain things? Now, there are certain things that are just the way they are, especially in relationships, right? When it comes to love and things like that, where it's not always the seer in a sense, because the other person also has free will, right? So if it's clear that this other person is not the person for you, that doesn't mean, oh, I'm the wrong psychic. But when it comes to other things in your life, like things that you have absolute control over, your career, your housing, what you do with yourself, who you become, who you show up as, that I would really be mindful of, because a lot of people are out there that just want to put you down into a certain space in order for them to measure themselves or push them up against you, so themselves up against you. So you don't want that. You don't want that energy anywhere near you anymore. Starseeds, hold the line, hold the energy, focus on the higher frequency. Don't become blinded to what's going on. Again, everything I'm saying, as I said in the video yesterday, this has to do with balance, right? So not falling off into the one side that everything is going to hell and Armageddon is at the door, which it kind of is, but not. And on the other side being like, aliens, take me with you. Don't, find your middle way. That's what humanity is. That's why it's so powerful, finding the middle way. Okay, so there's that, the Starseed activation. It's time for you to get activated, and time for really to do the work that you came here to do, because now is the time, now is the energy, now is the field, now is the frequency. Angels are sent as messengers. Angels shine in the dark. Angels are sent out from the light because that's where they're needed, right? And while it's fun to sing to God, which I love to do on a different plane of existence as an angel surrounded by other angels, that's wonderful, but that's not where we actually work, right? So get to it. Anyhow, let's move on. And Canada lowers GST. Oh, I did mention that already. So how is this going to work out? How is this going to work out? Canada just lowered the GST on all products. They took it off for the months to come until after Christmas. And this is unprecedented. Like, it's never been done before. And so this is really showing how badly Canada is suffering, and that people are really having a hard time making ends meet. Like, I have heard, of course, through friends and, things of just reading and stuff like that, that things have gotten really bad when it comes to groceries, when it comes to rent, and so on and so forth. But we all know that governments were warned 3 years ago, 3 years ago, not to shut down certain factories, certain places of food production, due to what was going on 3 years ago. But they were warned about what would happen in the future, and exactly this is what's coming through, right? So things have gone up crazily, and of course everybody forgets where the origin is, because you can't change it now anymore, so why bother looking at it? And but what's the outcome going to be here? And it's an offering. Yeah, it's a season of doubt. Remember, for me, the Two of Coins is one of the biggest cards of doubt. So it's a season of doubt. It's a season of robbing Peter to pay Paul, you know, doing that. And it's a small light forward. So here's Virgo, here is the Hermit card. Also has to do with the considerations they have towards the health and mental health of the people. So Virgo has to do with health. So that's coming in. And it's a peace offering, okay? Because something's rumbling too in Canada. Some things the people are not happy, like the general population, they're not happy. And so here we have the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups is interesting because, yes, on the one hand, it brings in an atmosphere of peace and love and trying to elevate that energy in a certain sense. On the other hand, it's not something that lasts. The Knight of Cups doesn't last. This is why in romance readings, it's always seen as, you know, the fake suitor kind of thing, or the false twin flame, or something that shows up that it's not quite, you know, don't trust it all the way. There's something else behind it. And this is that situation with that. So I don't feel this is really going to pan out, work out to whatever the intentions are behind this move. It's a short-term fix. It's a short-term band-aid. It's needed, okay, but it's not the it's very surface. It's very surface, and that's the sad part about Knight of Cups is very surface as well. Okay, surface person. Okay, so moving onwards. Now, another point that I was told to bring up today is and I'm checking off my list here, check, is the prediction of Bashar, right? And in case you guys haven't heard it, let me share that prediction with you. So 1 second while I pull it up here. The prediction of Bashar, where are you? There we are, okay. So in case you guys haven't heard it, he did this back in September 15th, 2024.
Generally speaking, we are not really allowed to comment deeply on your politics. But since things are changing somewhat in the near future, I am allowed to give you some very general specifics about the election in the United States. However, there must be caveats with this, since we are normally not allowed to comment on such things. There are certain things we can say, but if we say them, because it is your world, are you willing to take responsibility for the responses of your population to what we are about to say? And before you answer, think carefully about what that means. Are you willing to take responsibility for what we are about to say? Be sure the answer is yes.
Yes.
All right. This is what we are allowed to say. The female will lead to open contact. The male will lead to the termination of the United States and World War III. End of comment. Understand that what we have been allowed to do here today is highly unusual and only indicative of the fact that you are closer to contact than you were before.
Okay. So that's there is an election update as you guys from Bashar, as you guys saw in the top right corner possibly. But yeah, Bashar said that a couple in September, and here we are standing at the doorstep. Like literally hanging on the ability of several complicated characters to work things out, how our future is going to unfold. And literally within a day or so after the election, a week, things went belly up. So for those of you that are watching that don't know what I'm alluding to, again, Ukraine is shooting a long distance arms now into Russia, hitting Russia deeper into Russia than they did before, with the understanding and support of the US, Canada, the UK, basically NATO. And so Russia has stated previously that if that happened, if that were the case, that Ukraine does something with the support of the NATO, then it's no longer a Russia against Ukraine. It is now a NATO problem, which Russia will have to have a look at how they're going to deal with it, how they're going to reply to that. They did lower the threshold for nuclear engagement or nuclear reactions. So while we don't think they're that cray, we're not quite sure. We're not quite sure how cray the cray is going to get. And that they're even threatening it, that they're even, you know, putting that on the table shows that it is a real situation. You know, it's a real situation. So in the case that World War III breaks out in 2025, what would that lead to, right? And is this what is actually desired? Is this why things happen the way they happen in the US? Is this what is really desired? So we're going to have a look at that, because what happens after world wars, right? So this would be the war to end all wars for sure, though, for absolutely sure. Like this would not, no. They've already done estimates, and based on the facts of World War II and looking back at World War II and the state of technology then. And so this modern war, it may not be the trench warfare and stuff like that that we saw in World War II, but this would be more devastating because it would be technological, food and supply chain networks, and also biological components that would just decimate. And so it's a little different. And so we're going to have a look a little bit what would happen in the case of World War III, and are we going to war in 2025? Is this the plan? After World War II as well, there was a new economic structure. So due to the Bretton Woods Agreement and the Marshall Plan for Europe to rebuild after World War II, things kind of got back on track. Plus certain things that Germany did, of course, the German miracle after World War II, how they rebuilt themselves so quickly. And but then in the 1970s at some point, and I'm really shortening the story, and that's why I'm moving through kind of because I'm omitting everything. But sometime in the 70s, there was the Jamaica Accord. Of course, those of you that are into economics, you know a lot more about this than me. But there was the Jamaica Accord, under which we're kind of still living today, even though it doesn't really apply anymore because our world has gotten so much more complex. But suffice to say, before the Jamaica Accord, the US dollar was bound to gold. And so everybody was supposed to be able to exchange their money or their currency to the US dollar, which was the stability because it was tied to gold. And that gave the entire our world economy some kind of a stable foundation. But since the 70s, that didn't happen after the Nixon shock, because Nixon dissolved that connection to gold. He had to do it for whatever reasons, look it up. But after that, there was a Jamaica Accord agreement, which was signed by the members of the IMF, in which case that the US dollar was no longer tied to gold, which means it was floating since the 70s kind of, and basically the value of the dollar was based on trust, right? So the value of most currencies around the world is now based on trust alone. So it's a thing, and it's quite a topic, and many people have spoken about it all over YouTube and so on and so forth. But that's part of what would absolutely have to change as a result of World War III is our entire economic system. Everything would have to go, and new agreements, new ways of conducting business and so on would have to come into place. So what are we actually looking at right now? How many wars are going on right now in 2024? There are 7 major hotspots amongst all the other little squabbles and trifles and stuff like that. But the major one, of course, is the Ukraine-Russia war. Then there's the Palestine-Israel conflict, which we know. Sudanese civil war, the Myanmar civil war, the Ethiopian conflict, the Haiti gang violence, which is a thing, by the way, and the Mexican drug violence, which is another thing, by the way. And this is just listed based on casualties. Yeah, based on casualties. So from 1 through the 7. And this information is derived from the Council on Foreign Relations, the World Population Review, the Data Pandas Crisis Group and Global Data and Statistics, okay? So that at any point in time, like most likely it's going to be the Ukraine-Russia war or the Palestine-Israel conflict, even though that's a little bit lesser, but the Ukraine-Russia war that pops everything off. Yo. And then it depends on who allies to whom, because we've also got, of course, the tense spots in China and Taiwan, which is important for the US because that's where semiconductors are made, that's where chips are made. And China having a hold over that wouldn't be good for the American economy or the Western economy at all. So there's that. And of course, more and more countries becoming nuclear or nuclear countries. That's a risk. And so on and so forth. So it's becoming really, really tense around the world. Like it's already been tense, but now it's really getting to a point where people cannot find a solution to all the things that are going on. And one of the biggest drawbacks that we have today in regards to the past is that most countries are no longer completely autonomous. And what I mean by that is back in the day, you know, a country could cut itself off completely from any outside country and still have everything they need, food-wise, resource-wise. They could just, you know, chill out for a couple of years if necessary. And just instead of selling to the countries around them, they just use it for their own population. Nowadays, that's not so possible anymore because a lot of countries draw their base resources, their staples from other countries, right? So they no longer have these platforms in place or these things in place where they can literally live off their own stuff. So while, for example, Americans may think, you know, oh, we'll live off our own breadbasket, you know, which is our agriculture, our beef industry. Yeah, okay, but your technology is coming from outside the States, a lot of it, you know, like the actual hardware of it. So there's a lot of things that is it's more sensitive, it's more of a sensitive network, and it can easily be cut off at any point. Alone the communication lines, right? The communication lines, that's a huge thing. So it would be a complete, probably they're thinking it would be a complete destruction and a rebuild. But is that what we're being pushed towards? And we're going to have a look at that today. Okay. So yeah, what a topic to wake up to. But like I said, you know, we're not denying anything here, but we're looking at the positives. We're looking at what can we do? How can we, what is our role here? How can we contribute? How can we focus on strengthening the good consciousness, the good beneficial fields? And one of the biggest things, and I think that's the biggest disappointment with what happened in the US, is not, again, the people that are standing there as puppets don't matter. It's the reflection of what they show about the people that choose either one of them that matters. And so what it shows about the American public. Now, a lot of people are starting to think there's something not quite right with these elections because every single swing state turned red. That's, you know, even the ones that are traditionally always blue or are currently completely blue and they voted red. So there are a lot of things, people saying that their votes weren't counted, on and on and on it goes. Who knows? Now there are people coming out and saying that the aliens had something to do with it. The aliens that are now being admitted to, that somehow it ties in with their appearance, and that may be. But again, I'm not a firm fan of pushing off responsibilities to other entities. Like, we have the power. We have at the end of the day, it's us, it's our choice, you know, what we do and what we make happen. And anybody can stand in front of you and tell you the sky is green. And if you choose that the sky is blue and you're looking at it, you don't have to take that on. You can continue to say, even if it's in your head, the sky is blue. So, but what we're doing is we're letting everything come in, and we're choosing to allow ourselves to be pushed around, and that has to, at some point, that has to really come to a close. So anyways, let's have a look if this is the direction that we're being pushed in. And of course, we're going to end on a high note. And what can we do about it? What can we do about it? So, is this true what Bashar said? Are we headed in the direction? Is this the timeline that was chosen for us? Because if this is the timeline that was chosen for us and we're headed into that direction, which is, yeah, this is what's showing up. This is absolutely, oh my goodness. This is what's showing up. Yep. Okay, it has everything to do with the economy, you guys, it has everything to do with the economy. I was reading articles way back when in 2013, 14, 15, that the economy as it is unreal. Like it's not something that is actual. It's running on fumes. We are actually running on fumes when it comes to our global economy, and that something had to shift, something had to give, something had to change. And this is exactly what's showing up in the cards here. I've got all coins. Every single card is all coins. So we've got the 6 of coins. This has to do with the exchange rates, exchange, you know, currency. We've got the 7 of coins, things not working out, things not coming together, things not, you know, something has come to it's time to reflect on the past and look to what didn't work and create something new for the future, which is the 8 of coins, which is where we're really invested in things and we're pushing and we're learning and we're creating and we're making happen. So right now, we're here at this exchange and reflecting on the past and going, this is not working. This is not working. We've got the 2 of coins. It's a constant Peter to pay Paul. It's a shift. It's a game. How can the world be in debt? Like we're talking about a world debt, right? To whom? So there's so many concepts and ideas that just don't play anymore in this world, that just don't, you know, they make no sense. And here we have the Queen of Coins. Okay. So this is literally the earth, the world. So there's an environmental factor playing in this as well. So the environment, resources, all of this ties in. But as you can tell, these are all coins. So when I'm asking, is this the direction that we're being pushed in and why? This is showing what does this have to do? Like coins represent the earth elements. So territories, boundaries, stability, all of that is reflected in this answer, right? So it's all about possession, it's about ownership, it's about the money, it's about boundaries, it's about, and yeah, this is a clear yes, we're being pushed in this direction now of making the changes that need to happen, because clearly we're not doing it on our own, okay? So things have to come together in a way that will force us to move down a certain path or a certain way of going about things. Will we be, the question, you know, will we be at war soon? It's like immediately what comes up is like, there's this feeling of you already are, you know, you already are, but this is like they keep saying modern warfare is going to be very, very different to what we did in the past, but no less destructive. So let's see. Is it going to be open and all out in 2025? The next thing is that, was this an attempt? Because Biden made it very clear that he's supporting Ukraine now, and very clear in spite of the threats coming from Russia. So was this an attempt to provoke a war in order to stay in power as well? You know, like, is this a jump to consider that or think that? But we're going to have a look. So because if the US goes into war before January, then there might not be, right? But let's see. I don't know. We'll see. So anyways, we've got the 4 of Wands, we've got the Chariot, we've got the 8 of Cups, and we've got the 5 of Wands. Oh, it's like they're waiting for the moment when they know that they're going to be likely successful. They're not going to enter this open fray without the knowledge that they're going to win. So they're not going to go in with any doubt in their mind. And how do we see that? We see the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands has to do with success. It has to do with celebration. It has to do with confidence as well, right? Then we have the Chariot moving forward, taking action, going down a certain pathway, following their inner calling, whatever that may be. But we also have the Eight of Cups, so walking away from something. So this is giving me the feeling like they're backing away a little bit from going all in, because the intention is to win, right? So what's the point of going all in if you're not going to win? And then the Five of Wands, they might be drawn in. So I do see more there. Peace isn't coming in 2025. Like, that's not part of what 2025 is about. It's the year of the shapeshift, as my guides have said. So a lot of things are going to be, even more things are going to be revealed. A new mindset is coming a little bit. The seeds of a new mindset is coming into humanity. But I do feel that there's going to be more direct involvement in 2025. And yeah, I don't see all out total war where the entire economy is shifted around to produce stuff to maintain the war. Not that, but I do see more involvement than previously. Yes. Okay, so is this a ploy to stay in power and pull the agenda through? Is this a ploy? Is this a ploy? And we've got the Three of Coins, got the Five of Swords, and we've got the Four of Cups. So, yeah, I'd say yes, 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 this is a ploy. On the one hand, they're saying, you know, we're going to make a peaceful turnover and a peaceful changeover in January, but no, I do, you know, if they do it, if it happens, it will, you know, be exactly that on the surface. But behind the scenes, there's so much going on. The Five of Swords reveals it. The Five of Swords is actually in the tarot. This is the card of war. This is the card of, and let me show you a different tarot where it's completely shown. One second. It's a card that shows cutting things such as surgeries, such as teeth, ill health, pressure, loss, sabotage, betrayal. It's a lot with the Five of Swords. So behind the scenes, it's gonna be there's a lot going on. One second here. Of course, it's all the way at the back of the deck. I'm like going through the cards here. Where are you? Did I miss it? No, talking to you guys. Five of Swords. There it is. All the way at the end. But there were literally 3 cards left. So here we see in a different deck the Five of Swords, right? And it's complete destruction. It's annihilation where there are no winners. Like, nobody wins in this. And everybody walks away and everything is burnt. Everything is done. So either there's the desire to avoid this or the desire to push this. But whatever this is the Three of Coins. And it means there's significant work going into that. Work going into and either pushing it or trying to avoid it. And we also have the Four of Cups, which is, in a sense, also the Four of Cups can also be a kind of a secrecy card. It can be a not accepting. I'm not accepting this, right? A non-acceptance of something. So there's some kind of a non-acceptance that is actually happening in the blue party, and behind the scenes, they're doing a lot, pushing every button. Yeah, let me check back with you guys because I just went on a complete, yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, so it's a lot. You guys let me know in the chat what you pick up on yourselves or what you feel. Those of you in Canada, are you excited about this GST break? Is it really going to do anything for you? How are you feeling about it? How are you feeling about it? So back to what we can do when it comes to this kind of energy or this kind of world that we're in, is we're focusing on the positive sides of humanity. So their creativity, their ability to be flexible and pivot at the last minute and surprise everyone. We're focusing on nothing is ever written in stone. We're focusing on whatever comes from the outside doesn't mean that it's true or that this is what's going to, work out or roll out. So it's not a denial, but it's an acknowledgement of other opportunities and other possibilities as well. And we definitely have other possibilities and opportunities. There's so many things that can happen from here on in, and surprising things as well. I don't see, for example, a total all-out war because I don't see people putting up with that anymore. I just don't. And I do see them trying to create more of a nationalism drive as they're already starting with the US. Like the lingo is all about patriotism and being a patriot and being there for the United States and so on and so forth. So they're trying to create an identity, a national identity to which people feel bonded, obligated, supportive of, you name it. So they're already starting. And I warned about this in videos previous to the ones I'm doing now, that this is what's coming up, the rise of nationalism. You guys know this every year for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. So it's definitely going in that direction because they have to build that foundation, because if you're not attached to your country, then you're not going to fight for it, or at least not really fight for it. And especially in a country like the US, where there are a lot of people that are multinationals, so they feel connected to many different countries, if not, the entire world at this point. The US is a very global place. And even though people are very, they can be kind of, difficult when it comes to other nations in their country, they're actually proud of being such an open country and such a big country, right? So it's interesting how that's going to pan out, because I really can't see without help. And where's the help coming from the West, for the West? I don't see an open warfare because the people are not going to deal with it. They're not. Can you imagine the protests that would happen if the amount of men went off to war that went off to war in World War II or even in Vietnam? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Like, it's all fun and games until it's real. And when it's real, I don't see people putting up with it. I don't. Mm-mm. So do I see an all-out war coming? Not like that. No. Do I see sabotage from the inside? Yep. Do I see buyouts? Yep. Do I see more biological stuff? Yep. Do I see, stuff like that? Yeah. Yeah, but not like the way it was. CJ Brooks, I find that I need to limit the amount of time I watch the news. Absolutely. 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 And I think we also need to focus on the entities, like especially those of us that are in this realm, and you're connecting with entities and you're connecting with other beings, that you're also focusing on those that are here to help, not just the small groups or factions that are here to sabotage, to get their own edge. But there are a lot more that are there protecting us, that are here to help us, that are here looking out for us. And for whatever reasons or whatever agendas, some of them we will understand, but some of them we won't, because they're completely different entities, right? So completely different consciousness, ways of seeing things or what have you, but that doesn't mean they're bad. So there's a lot that is going for us and pushing us in the right direction, and a lot more, I'd say, than the ones that are trying to take us out. So I think, focusing on that and connecting with that, that's probably a better way forward as well, than focusing on the ones that are doing all that work, because it is also a mind hijack, you know, it's a total mind hijack. It is taking over your mind, your perspective of this world. And just like your computer can be taken to mine Bitcoins, you know, even though you don't know that that's what your computer is doing in the background, you're like, why is that wheel spinning, right? But just like, it can happen. It's the same thing with your mind. Like even you can be focusing on and manifesting something that you don't really intend to, because somehow they've gotten in there and they've triggered some kind of belief, they've triggered some kind of a focus or an emotional atmosphere, an emotional stance that you hold within yourself. So super important to be mindful every now and then throughout the day and just check in, right? Am I feeling, what am I feeling, especially in regards to certain topics, and lift that up, intend to lift it up, and see the sunshine, see the positives. And also remember that everywhere, love is in everything. One of my teachers, he said, you know, like the breath of God that I teach a lot of people to do. And some people just, they can't calm their minds enough to get into it. Like they're so attached to this artificial world, the fast but artificial vibe of working on computers, laptops, you name it, the world around us. And so it's really hard for them to get into this simplistic thing of just breathing. And through that breath, getting into the mind space of connecting with God and realizing that that breath that you're breathing comes from God, right? It is God's contract with you that you are alive right here, right now, just the way you are, with that hair color, eye color, with that size, with that body, with this life story. You are in here right now because God intended you to be. And that breath reminds you of that, because when you stop breathing, when your time has come at the end of your life, you're not going to, you don't have the capability to say, if it were your breath, you would, but you don't. You can't say, I'm going to breathe 5 more breaths and live 5 more breaths long. No, when your time has come to go, you go. Why? Because the breath itself leaves you, right? It goes back to its creator. It goes back to its maker. It goes back to the one that sent it to you. And God is always doing that. And God is always knocking at your door. Let me in, let me in. I'm here if you need me. And through the breath, through your breathing, you can connect to the Holy Spirit, which flies on the wings of that breath, because your breath is mystical. It is magical. It's not just breathing. It's not just your lungs as a windpipe going open and close and breathing in, but this is life force energy. Literally, because how long can you live without eating? And this is the way you were designed. You didn't create this about yourself. This is how you came in. How long can you go without eating? How long can you go without drinking? How long can you go without breathing? It's the first thing that you do when you come out into this world. The most important thing you do your entire life. And so it's automated for you, so you don't even have to think about it. That's how important it is. And it's the last thing, the very last thing that you do when you leave this world. And so it's super like important just to do that breathing, and just to remind yourself that you're a magical being emanated by a magical being in this magical world, and you've been given magical powers to make things happen in your life, around you, in your communities, in your families. And no, not everybody's going to understand you. They don't need to. Not everybody's going to be able to understand what you're doing or what you're going on. You know, they don't need to. As long as you're the one holding the energy, as long as you're the one, the portal for the higher energies to come through you and manifest through you, through your thoughts, through your feelings, through the emotional atmosphere that you create around yourself, you're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing good. So don't, you know, get too discouraged when you're watching the news and you're doing all that and you're thinking, I have to physically manipulate matter to make a change, to make a difference in this world. I have to, like, there's nothing I can do, because that's part of the deception that is making you feel powerless, that you don't believe in your own powers anymore, because you feel like, because I can't go there and physically lift this person out of office. No, but you can maintain a frequency, you can maintain a vibration, you can maintain an energy, you can maintain a portal, a thought, an intention. You can do so much. You can do so much. And as long as one person is doing that, the energy is still here in this planet, right? As long as one person is doing that, the energy is still here on this planet. Another thing that popped up, right, was that love is everywhere. There's nowhere that love doesn't go. And some people are like, yeah, when war comes, it's going to be a really dark place and it's going to be horrible. But in every single like war and conflict and the stories that we tell each other after that is they're moments of where humanity shines, where human beings really shine out the brightest because doing the most simple things, because these simple things become a total act of bravery against this backdrop of darkness. And love pops up in the trenches between the men that are there, and the stories that come out again about how brothers in arms and so on and so forth. So there are these harsh experiences that are also designed to get us back on track, in a sense, to experience these energies again, to realize their strength, their power, in spite of them being non-aggressive, non-attacky, non-alpha energies, but they still have their own strength. They have their own bonding. They have their own power. And oftentimes they're way more powerful than the rest. So it's love is everywhere. The breath of God is everywhere. There's nowhere, no situation, no experience that God hasn't been. And as long as you're in connection with God, as long as you're in connection with the divine, you're okay, right? You're okay. And so there really is no experience out there that God hasn't had or the Holy Spirit cannot flow into. And you just hold on to that and move through your world, move through your life, move through your day-to-day and realize that you're intended here for a reason. You were put down here for a reason. Everything on this planet, everything is in balance. Everything is in, well, it was in balance. And you're a part of that balance. You're absolutely a part of that balance wherever you find yourself, whatever you're doing today, whatever you're needing to do or thinking about doing. Again, remind yourself that it's not just about running errands. It's because Spirit wants you in that store or in that agency, wants your smile to connect to the heart of another person, wants your energy to inspire another person, wants your energy to uphold something in a specific space, and that you have a mission. You do, right? So I hope you guys are doing good. And I'm not seeing much in the chat here. But yeah, and you guys in Canada haven't let me know if you even care about this GST break that you're getting. And if you have any other questions or thoughts of what's going on. Hmm. Oh, I've got Bill Clinton in the chat, you guys. Hi, Bill. Hmm. Aw, it's the truth. It's the truth. Yeah, it's still very early over there. I can imagine. Yeah. I don't really, yeah. I used to, back in the day, I'd get up at like I said in the video yesterday, about 5:30 in the morning, and then I'd do my prayers, my meditation, do my workout, and then go to work. And since I've become self-employed, it's that time has pushed out further and further and further, but I want to get back to that because that is really the best time, the best time. Ooh, mass deportations. That's, wild. Absolutely. I think people are oof. The base premise, that we can divide the earth and we can cut her up, and that one part belongs to a group of people and another part belongs to another group of people, is so primitive that it's not even, we can't even go there, how dark that is and how primitive that concept and that thought is. So everything that we have going on right now is a furthering of the craziness. It's like you have one crazy thought and then you build on that crazy thought, and everything that spins out of that is just even crazier. It has to be, because if it became rational, it would unravel the original thought. And so this wild idea that is so persistent and prevalent in us, that we come from differing tribes, so that we can even create the thought of subhumanism, that feeling of someone is subhuman, someone is less than us, someone is less valuable than us, their life is less valuable than ours. That would even give rise to the thought that someone is undesirable or unwanted is wild. It is wild. It is wild beyond belief. Beyond belief. And to say that the economy of the US can't handle it, we all know, that's not quite true, is it? So it's because if everybody were just allowed to move to wherever they feel most comfortable, if every country on this planet had a system in place that was life affirming and human affirming, right? There wouldn't be that much moving around. There wouldn't, because most people want to be around friends and family and what they know. That's just how we're built. We're built as these community social creatures. And the other people, if they were allowed to move to where they really want to live because, oh my God, the geography is so much better, or really connect with those people over there, it would be minimal in comparison to the people that decided to stay, So hopefully this experience is going to open us up to a new understanding and realization about humanity and people. And hopefully it will break that Darwinian hold, that Darwin idea that is so deep in our subconscious and in everything that we do, that life favors the fittest, and the wealthy countries are wealthy because they're the fittest humans. So they're more human than the other countries that are poor and only harbor subhuman. And maybe they'll finally realize all the machinations that go into holding other countries poor. And maybe they'll realize that this entire earth belongs to all of us, and that everybody should be free to go wherever they want to go. And but directly to your question, will the mass deportations go the way they want them to go? No. No. Because if it went the way they want them to go, it would be inhumane, absolutely inhumane, and it would be wild, and it would cause so much ruckus on so many levels that they wouldn't be able to continue. Because people think they want one thing, and then when they actually see it happening, a lot of people are going to fall off that bandwagon, because it will just be wild. A lot of protests, going down that timeline and visualizing that timeline, people chaining themselves to railroad tracks, people trying to stop all of it, throwing themselves in front of buses, trying to stop them. I get the idea, and they will start. Like, I do feel like they will start, but it's either not going to be a main news item, or it's not going to go the way they think it will. No. Trump people should be on one big island. Yeah, they tried that with Australia. That's how Australia got started, right? In a way, like a certain group of people being put out on the island, you go do your thing. But it still doesn't work, It still doesn't work. I think it's not even, I think the biggest problem are and they utilized it against us, the crowd mind, as I mentioned in the video yesterday, and that a lot of people don't understand that or don't realize that, don't care about that. The entertainment industry and people thinking this is one big show, so it doesn't matter and it doesn't affect my life anyways. And I'm actually voting for the show that I want to see play out. And instead of realizing, no, this really affects you and generations and people around you and people in countries that don't even, you think have nothing to do with you, you know? I think those are and the disconnect, the absolute disconnection from each other and from God and from life itself. It's really showing now. It's really showing now. Oof. I have a feeling about the mail. I don't know if I can or should write it here. Yeah, Elena, we all do. We all, yes, 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 yes. It's not necessarily the male that we associate it with, but yes. Yes, I know exactly who you're meaning, but maybe the initials, Elena, just the initials, and other people will pick up on the initials too. But a couple people have said that this election, it's not even about the person that is going in now. It's about something else. And what's interesting is that he did mention that you won't have to vote again. I mean, that's been going around and around and around. So what exactly is meant by that people won't have to vote again? And connected to Bashar's prediction, right? And he said that after, I think, Bashar's prediction. Where Bashar says, you know, the states is going to unravel. So I don't know. I don't know. I personally see one more vote after this. One more election, but it's not going to have the same oomph that the previous ones had. It's drinking ginger lemon honey. And it's snowing over here. Oh no, I'm above the snow. Sorry, I'm still in my spaceship. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, but Elena, just write the initials and I'm sure we'll all pick up on it. We'll all pick up on it. Yeah. All right, you guys, if you have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm sure I'm going to be back on again tomorrow with more news and headlines as we move further down this timeline, down this track. Amending the Constitution. Yes, this is why it's so important that he gets someone in that will do as he says, you know. This is one of his key positions that Pam Bondi is going to be. Yeah. Yeah. This is yep. Yep. And I know a lot of people had issues with Kamala, and I totally understand why, right? Like I say in all my videos, I'm not on either side. They're both puppets, yada, yada, yada. We all know the drill. I get it. This entire system has to shift to the positive, and it will eventually. But choosing Kamala would have shown what the people were about. They were about something different from the past, something else besides the caveman alpha male brutalizing, you know, really wanting something different. It doesn't mean that Kamala would have been a better choice. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it would show that the people have changed, that they had changed their mindset or their outlook, their perspective, all of that. That's what that choice would have reflected. But here we are. Here we are. So, and Kamala, or Kamala, she would have also been a representative of finally everything that we talked about, you know, choosing the feminine, the divine feminine coming through, a softer energy. The energy in the earth would have changed like that. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's gotten a lot heavier since 2019, I'd say. And that vote would have uplifted the energy on the planet, like hope would have been restored. And just by that, hope would have been restored. A different energy would come in, because it's almost as if there needs to be one powerful female, at least one visible, powerful female in power, and to represent that side of the polarity, that side of the energy. And that's not what we have right now. No. Will the tea make it to January? I don't know. I'm going to be ruthlessly honest with you guys. I don't know. There's something about that which is keeping, I won't say keeping me up at night either, but I don't feel clear enough to really state yet 100% what I'm picking up on. But yeah, I don't know. Let's put it that way, because I don't know. A clear decision was when he said people were eating cats and dogs. Yeah, I know. And that the majority of people, and this is exactly. There was too much focus on her race. Yeah, that's another, but you know, these things come after, right? These things come after, because she didn't have that much time to connect with people. So they were using everything they could to get her to connect with people, or get people to connect with her. And the thing is that, you know, people kind of expect women, you know, the first female president of the US is not going to show up like Mrs. Claus. She's not going to be Santa Claus's wife. She can't. There's no way. So having someone in there like Barbara Bush, or someone who looks like they bake cookies and look like sugar sprinkles, and that's going to be the soft feminine, the mother figure that everyone craves, that's not going to happen, you know. And this is exactly what Hillary Clinton ran into all those years ago as well. Because if you're getting to that position, you're coming in with a lot of stuff behind you. You're coming in like peeling the gloves off your hands, because, you know, you were just in battle. And you're not going to have that energy about you as a feminine. You're going to come in a different feminine energy, and it's a lot. And I think Kamala did a fantastic job of bridging that feminine energy, of being tough, of being, you know, I'm ready to get my hands dirty, but also being, I'm also ready to connect with you. I'm ready to open to you. I'm ready to show you that feminine energy of wearing my heart on my sleeve, of, you know, all of that. So it's tricky. It's really tricky, especially when you have someone who's throwing people these strong visuals. And I showed you this quote from the book, The Crowd Mind, Gustave Le Bon. And you absolutely brought it up here with let me show you this again, just a reminder here. 1 second. A crowd thinks in images, and the image itself calls up a series of other images having no logical connection with the first. A crowd scarcely distinguishes between the subjective and the objective. It accepts as real the images invoked in its mind, though they most often have nothing or only a very distant relation with the observed facts. Crowds, being only capable of thinking in images, are only to be impressed by images. And that is exactly what Trump does. Like when he says to the crowd, to the masses, they're eating cats and dogs, the crowd and all the, you know, the components of the crowd, because we don't understand the mind. And this is another big problem, is we think we have our own minds. So we think we have our own thoughts. And to tell people that it's one mind of which we are all participating in, it's very scary, right? It's very scary. So we don't go there, and we can't prove it, right, yet. So we're going to leave that aside. But what I've been taught is it's one mind, and the mind, right? So but we see the reflection of that when we're looking at collective consciousness, when we're looking at crowd mind. And so all he has to do, or these people have to do, because that is a working mind, is, you know, a part of the working mind, is throw this image into the crowd, and it goes wild. It tears it up like dogs and bones. It just goes for it, because what a juicy image, you know, what a juicy image. They're eating cats and dogs. Like, it says everything. It subhumanizes, it dehumanizes, it elevates. It shows there's something to protect, because if they're eating their cats and dogs, they're coming after you. It's so much in this symbolism, right? Cats and dogs, and the value, the love, instant love, emotional trigger, like all of it. It's the perfect image for that subconscious mind of the crowd to go nuts. And here we are. Here we are. Nobody really checked to see what he was talking about, or if this was true, you know? And the media has been so discredited because they played a crap game with humanity for a very long time. They did. So now if they're trying to tell the truth, it's like the boy that cried wolf, you know? So now when they're trying to call him out, people are like, media, whatever, who's to believe them? And but nobody really went and checked, what is he talking about? Like this one instance maybe, or, you know, but it wasn't like this wide, massive thing. And the funny thing is about these crowd things is that people get riled up. It's the same here in Germany, like with Eastern Germans getting riled up about immigration and immigrants, when Eastern Germany is affected the least by immigration, right? Most of the immigrants are in Northern Germany or in select cities throughout Western Germany, right? And Eastern Germany, of course, has immigrants as well, but not to the extent that Western Germany does. But they're the ones that are the most riled up about it, right? So it's funny because people will get so protective over a projected fear, right? And they will buy into that, and they will let themselves be dominated by that. They will let themselves be led by that, rather than finding out the truth, being open for some. And this is what we have to work on as star seeds as well, is not to fall into this trap, not to fall into this, but to really come back to center, alignment, hold the frequency, hold the vibe, do all that, right? As we were saying. But yes, these people know exactly what they're doing. They know how to move crowds. They know how to manipulate the crowd mind. The information is out there, but it feels good in that moment to be part of something, you know? It feels good to just get so angry and release all that pent-up anger and rage and frustration that has nowhere to go, and to, you know, finally be allowed to let it out, to have a legitimization to be releasing it, and people take it. And this is where we start digging in deeper. What is that inside of human beings? What is that inside of human beings that loves this side of things so much, that loves this? What is that? Is it evil? What is that? So yeah, lots to talk about there. Oof. Elena Delion, my feelings is NO. Is no. Are those initials, or is it the actual word no? Oh, you mean with will T make it to January, and your feeling is no. Yeah, there's something. There's something hovering. There's something. I don't know. I'm gonna be, I don't know. I don't know, because T has some kind of, and people have spoken about this, he has some kind of a wild protection on him, which is it's a strong protection. And so it's really, he's a joker. He's a wild card. I don't know what's running through him right now. And I've said it so many times in so many videos before. I truly believe that he had a moment, an epiphany during his first term. I truly believe that he was there to support Christ energies, bring in Christ consciousness, elevate America to a new height, to a new level. But I also believe that he was overrun by the truth of what's going on behind the scenes and who's really, you know, got things going, because there were numerous things that he did during that time that weren't okay, but people don't really know about it, right? Or don't really think about it. He's managed to somehow just sweep it all under a rug. But if you go look, it's again all there. But this second term, I'm getting a completely different vibe from him. Super different vibe. And this is not a good vibe. No. So I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I do feel that Bashar is, when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, because that's what so many of us were picking up on. And once again, this is not about again, it doesn't matter, right? Which side it reflects what the people are doing. And that's where everything's at. People are so used to disempowering themselves and putting the power in the hands of these representatives or these puppets or these, whatever you want to call it. But it never was about them. It's about you and her and him and them. And that's where the real power is, but we don't believe that anymore. So we don't see it, we don't find it. Yeah. We believe that these people have the power, and because we believe that, we give it to them. I heard a group of witches gave up putting spells on him. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. There's something there. There's absolutely something there. And a lot of these people in these positions have abilities. So whether it's intuition, psychic abilities, you name it, they have it. They absolutely have it. I ran into that with or a very aware subconscious. Who was it? Prince Harry. I mean, you can laugh, but yeah, I was, that's also why I kept, because in the beginning, like all those years ago, they were the hot topic, right? So I was doing readings on them. And at some point I'm like, no, I can't, I'm not doing this anymore, because something was looking right back at me, and it creeped me out. Like part of it creeped me out. But there was things that started happening as well that I was like, no, it's not that worth it to me. But yeah, they have their people in place, or they learn how to do things themselves. I don't know, but yeah, yeah. But he's got something. I don't know. He's got something. All right, you guys, that's it for today. Like I said, I'm probably going to see you tomorrow again with new headlines. If you have any more questions or new questions come up, save it up for tomorrow, and we'll dig in and see what the news of the day is. I'm sure something's going to pop up in the 24 hours. And Elon has a spiritual advisor. It came out in someone's reading not too long ago. Absolutely. 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 Yes. Yeah. Absolutely believe that. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And Nancy Reagan, yes, they had astrologers and tarot readers during the Reagan administration. Yeah. 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 That's the thing, like in those years before, I think this is humanity also growing up in a sense. When you're little, when you're like 8 years old and you think being a grown-up is so grown up, like when you're 50 or a man with 60, that they know everything there is to know and they're super experts that you could never, ever reach, and then you grow up and you realize, whoa, they're still there. They're not that smart. I think we're, as a collective humanity, we're coming to that stage where we're realizing that the people that we have in power are not that smart. We're realizing our scientists are not all that. Our politicians are not all that. It's like, because we completely forgot that these are just normal humans that we put up on a pedestal. Either a pedestal of knowledge or a pedestal of power or a pedestal of capability, right? And we're realizing like, no. All right. You guys, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Have an awesome day ahead of you, those that just got up, and those of you that are on the other side, have an awesome evening. Take care. Bye.